Nighttime. Xianxia sat on the roof looking at the stars. Just at this time, there was someone knocking on his courtyard door. He anxiously jumped down from the roof, and when he opened the door, he was immediately shocked. The one who knocked on the door was Bai Ziqian, and he was not surprised. But the unexpected thing was that Bai Ziqian did not pretend at all. A pair of blue eyes, with a long braid hanging in front of his well-developed chest, and at the end of the braid was a terrifying purple poison hook. Xianxia originally wanted to teach them a lesson, but seeing her beautiful yet ice-cold face, she could only quickly invite the Devil Scorpion Princess in. If they found out, it would attract a few Super Yuan sect leaders who would immediately rush over. Entering the house, Xianxia immediately opened the array he had set up to prevent the spirit qi inside from leaking, to prevent anyone from hearing the conversation inside. If you dare to kill the son of the Dragon Emperor, what are you afraid of? Bai Ziqian said coldly. She was just a little displeased with Xianxia, because when Xianxia fought with her, he had ruthlessly pinched the peaches on her chest, causing her to always bear a grudge. Furthermore, her little sister was with the bad guy all day. You don't come out. It's not safe here. Bai Ziqian anxiously asked. Did this brat bully you? No, he was very nice to me. Bai Yu said softly, allowing him to let out a small sigh of relief. Devil Scorpion Princess, be a bit more respectful to my man. He did a lot of things for you two sisters. Su Meiyao scoffed. What? Your man? Bai Ziqian's beautiful face immediately changed. Little demoness, are you really having an affair with this brat? Although Su Meiyao looked to be a demon that was able to seduce her to the bone marrow, Bai Ziqian knew clearly that it was extremely difficult to move this kind of woman's heart. If Xianxia could take Su Meiyao down, then what about Bai Yu? That's right. We've long been honest with each other. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly. My man is amazing. You won't be able to find anyone better than him. Hearing Su Meiyao's praise, Xianxia couldn't help but blush, but his heart was still filled with joy. Yu, did anything happen between you and this little scoundrel? Tell me honestly. Bai Ziqian stood up and looked at him with a pair of ice-cold blue eyes. Yes, he did. Senior sister even kissed him for a very long time. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly, making Xianxia want to drag her out and spank her butt. To actually say such words, provoking the poison woman's anger, would be very troublesome. She volunteered. Xianxia saw that Bai Ziqian was at the edge of exploding, and anxiously said, Sis, don't worry about me. Bai Yu sighed. Bai Ziqian took a deep breath, and the expression on her face eased up greatly, because she knew that her sister had gotten rid of the ruthless magic. This was a good thing, but it was just that the little scoundrel Bai Yu was falling for it, and it made her feel very uncomfortable. I'm doing fine too. Even though I'm wanted by the other worlds, I'll be fine, Bai Ziqian said to Bai Yu gently. On the other hand, this brat, he managed to stir up Dragon Emperor. Xianxia anxiously tried to defend himself. I'm also very safe. I made a plan to get a guy to help me take the blame. It's just that right now I can't find out what's going on over there. Sis, where did you get the magical corruption gas? Why did you kill that immortal king? Bai Yu's words were filled with concern, causing his heart to feel extremely warm. This was kinship, and although the two sisters did not often meet, they often missed each other. Who let him provoke me? Whoever provokes me dies. Bai Ziqian snorted. I got my magical corruption gas by chance, just a tiny bit, and I spent all of it on that group of trash. Bai Ziqian was a fanatic of the magical corruption gas. She had collected some of them back then, but she had been forced to give up after that, so she would not care about anything else if she had the chance to obtain them. Speaking of magical corruption gas, Xianxia laughed. He had a lot of these things, and they were all in his body. Sister Ziqian, I know there are a lot of magical corruption gas there. Xianxia laughed. It exists inside the Great Devil Mountains, but it's probably sealed to death. I heard that the demon and devil sinkhole was sealed secretly by the people of that devil-suppressing divine palace. It's said that even Dragon Beijing cannot open the seal like that. Bai Ziqian shook his head, looking extremely regretful. Xianxia knew that the demon and devil sinkhole had been sealed, but he never thought that it would be the devil-suppressing divine palace himself. My man has it, he can give you as much as you want. Little scoundrel, don't keep me guessing. Su Meiyao shouted out. Bai Ziqian was shocked. She had suspected that Xianxia must have used some extraordinary thing to kill so many strong warriors. If it was a magical corruption gas, then it made sense. But this was very dangerous. If he was wanted like her, he would only end up running for his life. Humph. Devil-suppressing golden body, impenetrable. It seems like you've been under the demon and devil sinkhole before. Bai Ziqian looked at Xianxia with a bit of bitterness. This kind of guy with impenetrable was the bane of poison masters like them. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly. Because you are a faint older sister and he can give you, it's said that a woman like you who's covered with poison will die even if a man touches her. But my man is different. Devil-suppressing golden body, impenetrable. If you want to have a taste of a man, I'm afraid only my man can satisfy you, he. Ah! Xianxia swept his eyes across the beautiful and ice-cold devil-scorpion princess, and couldn't help but let his imagination run wild. Humph! Bai Ziqian snorted. Xianxia hastily took out a jade box and handed it over to Bai Ziqian while grinning. This is a present I gave to Sister Ziqian. I have greatly offended you back then. Please forgive me. Bai Ziqian opened it only to see a few white flowers inside the jade box. But after she gently caressed it, her body suddenly trembled. As a female poison demon, she knew what these white flowers were. It was the drunk god flower S. The drunk god sent S that could make one of the super old poison S. Had both kinds of super old poison, so this lecherous brat was too dangerous. Since he was using impenetrable, he would definitely not have any qualms when refining the poison, and even she and the demon empress who used poison had to be careful when dealing with super old poison. At that time, I saw those guys directly burning the drunk god flower to produce colorless and tasteless drunk god scent, but I felt that the poison wasn't strong enough. Xianxia said he also wanted to get stronger drunk god scent. Of course not. You have to refine it before you can directly burn it. How much do you have now? Bai Ziqian picked up a drunk god flower and took a whiff. He frowned. This drunk god flower is indeed powerful. If a normal person smelt it, they would have already been drunk to death. I have a lot, but it will take some time. Sister Yu is very worried for you, so I will do my best to give you as much as possible so that you will be safer. Look, what Xianxia said was the truth. In the past, Su Meiyao had used the dragon cohesion kung fu to condense the dragon saliva and helped Bai Ziqian grow many poisonous flowers and herbs. Although the two of them had a grudge, the truth was that they had a good relationship. Sister Ziqian, do you have anything to store magical corruption gases? Yes. Bai Ziqian took out a bead, and it was about the same as LV Qinlian's from before. If possible, fill it up. After Xianxia received it, he immediately transferred the magical corruption gas in his body into the pearl. You're actually hiding in your body. Bai Ziqian could not help but be surprised, but it was normal when he thought about it. Xianxia's devil-suppressing golden body was very powerful. The magical corruption gas could not do anything about it. When the time comes, I will think of a way to go to demon and devil sinkhole and get more. Now, Bai Ziqian knew why Su Meiyao had said that Xianxia was very capable. Magical corruption gas and drunk god scent could be so many. Even if she had searched for many years, it would still be difficult to find her. Hey! My man gave you so many good things. Aren't you going to show some mercy? Su Meiyao said proudly. Bai Ziqian also knew that the reason Xianxia gave her these two super old poison was because of Bai Yuyu. It was also because of Bai Yuyu that Xianxia trusted her so much. But Bai Ziqian didn't know how to express it either. Xianxia had the green dragon demon-slain broadsword, heaven-earth killing method, and a dragon vein that she was extremely envious of. This brat's request is not high. It's fine as long as I kiss with him for a bit, he. But the high and mighty devil scorpion princess would definitely not do so. She and Bai Ziqian had a grudge, but now that her man was helping her like this, it truly didn't feel good for Bai Ziqian. No need to thank me. Yu Yi has given me a lot of help. Without her, I wouldn't be here today. Besides, this is nothing to me. As Xianxia delivered the magical corruption gas into the pearl, he indeed did not mind thanking him. In his opinion, Bai Ziqian was family with him. Sister Meiyao, I'm your man after all. Do you think you can help your man seduce women? Xianxia sent a sound transmission to Su Meiyao. Little scoundrel. Big sis is helping you take care of this woman. Sister, I know that you're just a playboy. It's not like I don't know that there's one more person like her, or one less person. Su Meiyao secretly transmitted to Xianxia. You little scoundrel. Don't tell me you didn't think of taking the two sisters down? I have only thought about it occasionally, but I think I know that I am a devil scorpion princess. What's that? Isn't your Shui Xiao Xian an elder sister Menger master and disciple? Weren't you the one who took it? Who are you that I don't know? Stop pretending to be a sheep in front of me, Su Meiyao said. Bai Ziqian indeed did not know how to thank Xianxia, and drunk god scent and magical corruption gas were very important to her. Although Xianxia did not want her to thank him, she felt apologetic about it, especially since Su Meiyao always used this matter to provoke her. Xianxia did not want to make Bai Ziqian look bad. According to Bai Ziqian's surname, if he were to continue, he would definitely be tangled up, and anxiously said, Sister Ziqian, don't go wandering around too much during this period, and spend time with Miss Yu, simultaneously refining drunk god scent. Come in, I want to meet you too, Su Meiyao said. Bai Ziqian originally wanted to leave after meeting with Xianxia, but she needed a lot of drunk god flower, so she had to stay for a period of time and enter the serene jade ring. As for what was going on inside, Xianxia didn't know. After Xianxia filled that bead with magical corruption gas, he gave it to Bai Ziqian, who was inside the Yuyao ring. Then, he hurriedly left to find out about the examination to Alchemist. After Bai Ziqian entered the ring, he found out that Bai Yuyu had been living a good life. If you want to become a gold-rank alchemist, you must refine a high-grade ground-level pill. This was information that Xianxia had gathered, and it was not easy to pass the examination. The level of alchemist here was around the same as Tian's Dan Alliance. To be able to refine 3 high-grade ground-level pills was already considered a part of the alchemy sect, and there were quite a few in the sacred city. As for the Dan Immortal S, there weren't many as well, and there were even fewer alchemists, and they were hard to find. When that time comes, he would need sufficient energy to open up the sacred sacrificed altar and return. But the majority of the people who came were already dead, especially the people from the traders, none of them left alive. Xianxia did not know if he could open the sacred sacrificed altar at that time, so he needed to increase his strength, and at the same time, collect more medicinal ingredients. The 5 elements profound Dan's medicinal ingredients? This is the medicine for a high-grade ground-level pill. Normally, the pill shop would not sell it. We don't sell medicinal herbs here. Profound? We won't sell or trade for that medicinal herb. Xianxia went to a lot of pill stores and first bought some common high-grade ground-level medicinal ingredients, but none of them were willing to sell. He was only selling some low-leveled herbs, which made Xianxia very depressed. Now he had no choice but to refine Relive Danes first. Luckily, he had a lot of ingredients for it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get his hands on the high-grade ground-level pills. If you want the medicinal herbs, I'll help you snatch them. In any case, the powers here are all after me. I've long seen how impatient they are. She could see the things outside from inside, but Xianxia rejected her idea. Doing this was too dangerous. It would not be good to get excited about the old fellow in the sacred city. The large pill shops in the sacred city were all very cautious. The number of heaven-level pills that came out was even less, and even if there were immortal pills, the quality would be very poor, and all of the immortal pills were for auction. High-level pills were usually for their own use, only the poor ones would be sold. As for the herbs of heaven level and above, they would rarely appear on the market. This was to prevent the other party from buying them and then collecting them as a reserve resource. Xianxia kept having the feeling that the sacred Dan realm on this side, as well as the various great powers, all had a blood feud. Could it be that a great battle is brewing here? Xianxia felt that he needed to get rid of the core members of the powers in order to know a few things. Only then would he be able to get his hands on the treasures here, get a large sum of money, and then leave. If I can kill the Prince Imperial Dragon, isn't it just a mere sacred Dan realm? Xianxia thought silently in his heart. He returned to his living quarters and began to condense Creation Divine Liquid S. He wanted to obtain more Drunk God Flower S4 by Ziqian so that she could refine some of them. Xianxia had tried to refine a relive Dan before, but without succeeding, it was difficult to continue. He could only do it twice now, and in his opinion, he would need to do it at least 4 times before he could continue refining the relive Dan to the peak. Now, he could only try to use the method of refining Qixin Dan. He had already collected the 3 main ingredients for relive Dan, returning herb, white jade lotus seed, and 9 primordial flower long ago. With the exception of Creation Divine Liquid, he could make a lot of them. In the sealed room, Xianxia quickly took care of all the medicinal ingredients and threw them into the Yanlong furnace, injecting them inside. Afterwards, he released his divine power, wanting to try and see if he could enter into the interior of the medicinal ingredients and communicate with them, so that they would not become so stubborn. If it was like when he was refining the Qixin Dan and he could see the inner world of the spirit herbs, then it would be very easy for him, and now he could only use the old method, foreseeing alchemy. I can barely activate the 3rd stage of foreseeing alchemy now. Let's see how long I can last. Xianxia's foundation was not bad. Although he had tried a method to refine a Qixin Dan, it did not burst, and after that, according to the situation in the furnace, he started to use the foreseeing alchemy. With 3 levels of foreseeing alchemy, he simultaneously simulated 3 different paths of this cauldron in his mind. After that, he combined the 3 paths and obtained the most accurate result, and then used this correct result to continuously correct his mistakes. Was extremely proficient in using the dual foreseeing alchemy S, but now that there was only an additional layer of the 3 stages of foreseeing alchemy, it made him extremely uncomfortable, especially with such a shocking amount of calculation. In every second of calculation, he had to pay attention to countless other details, and even fuse the 3 stages. In just a split second, many things appeared in his mind. If he wasn't used to it, his head would start to hurt from the pain. If it was severe, his head would be paralyzed. Persist. Xianxia closed his eyes tightly. At this moment, he felt as if his entire head was trembling crazily. The scene of his brain refining a pill had appeared out of nowhere and then quickly fused together again. As long as he found anything wrong, he would immediately adjust the fire inside the furnace to prevent it from failing. Su Meiyao had said before that the 3rd layer of foreseeing alchemy was enough to refine a high-grade ground-level pill. Although it was only an additional layer, it was still very deadly. No! If I continue like this, even if I can produce just 1 pill, I won't be able to obtain any guarantee of its quality. I need at least 3 pills, or else I will be unworthy of this batch of medicinal herbs. Xianxia clenched his teeth and shouted loudly. In his mind, an additional scene of calculation appeared. I have divine soul, my divine power is so thick, I can definitely hold on for a while. Previously, I did not try, but because I was scared, because of fear, I kept thinking about slowly leveling up from the 2nd stage of foreseeing alchemy. But I was wrong. Xianxia had already found out why he couldn't level up in the foreseeing alchemy, precisely because he was too afraid of this heavy foreseeing alchemy. It was because he had previously tried 3 levels of the foreseeing alchemy, but in the end, he was unable to hold on because he felt that his foundation wasn't sufficient. Even when he was more than 10 levels away, he already felt extremely powerless, because the 3rd stage was already so powerful. The later stages would be even more difficult. Of course, because the heavenly alchemy was also one of the reasons, he kept having the feeling that he could rely on it to replace the. Although heavenly alchemy could refine many unique pills, it was just a regular pill that couldn't. If you don't learn the foreseeing alchemy well, from today onwards, you will not be able to hold the heavenly alchemy in your hands either. The foreseeing alchemy is the foundation of the heavenly alchemy. This would allow him to refine relive Dan S without making any more small mistakes. This way, it would not cause too many medicine aura to be lost, and would allow him to use a portion of the ingredients to the limit, producing more pills and higher quality pills. Sure enough, it was as he had expected. The pressure on the brain was about the same as the pressure on the 3rd stage of the foreseeing alchemy. Although it was very difficult for many people to practice the 4th stage of the foreseeing alchemy, before they could grasp the 3rd stage, If they tried to practice it easily, they would only end up suffering a headache or their own sea of consciousness being damaged. Potential. I am a spirit cultivator, and I have a lot of potential. In terms of multiple foreseeing alchemy, yes, I am definitely above average, but I need to dig it out myself. Xianxia realized that although it was very difficult to execute the fourth stage of foreseeing alchemy, the situation was similar to that of the third stage. Fifth stage. Xianxia shouted in his heart, and an additional scene of training was recited silently in his mind. From the second stage to the fifth stage, Xianxia's divine sense C was unceasingly churning as his divine power rapidly drained. However, this was exactly the effect Xianxia wanted, as only then would he be able to unceasingly unearth the potential of his divine power. Although he cultivated his mind, the divine power he obtained from cultivation would usually be used in a state where he used it to the limit, resulting in the divine sense C's tempering to be very little. But now, he allowed his divine sense C to be the same as his physical body, undergo a cruel baptism, in order to make his divine soul stronger. Bang! The Yanlong furnace trembled slightly, and Xianxia immediately fainted as well. The divine power in his mind had already dried up, and just now, he had been continuously using the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy, but he did not know how to use it, which resulted in his divine power being drained crazily. When Bai Ziqian came out of the ring, he saw the unconscious Xianxia bleeding from her eyes and couldn't help but frown. Then, he took out some water to help him wash his eyes. "Is he okay?" Bai Yu asked. "It's nothing. I just expended too much energy. I really don't know what he's doing. It's just forging a cauldron of pills. Isn't it? You made yourself into this." This was the first time she took so much care of a man. "Hey! Don't take advantage of my man!" Su Meiyao shouted. "Will I take advantage of him? What's so good about him?" Bai Ziqian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was currently taking care of Su Meiyao, but she was actually being suspected by Su Meiyao, which made her a little angry. She reached her hand into Xianxia's clothes and pinched the pea in Xianxia's chest. "Stinking brat! Back then you squeezed me so hard." Just then, Xianxia opened his eyes and saw the scene before him. He screamed, "Pervert! What did you do to me?" Xianxia was like a girl being violated, cowering in a corner. She was purposely provoking Bai Ziqian just now. If she hadn't said that, Bai Ziqian wouldn't have pinched the beans on Xianxia's chest out of frustration. Bai Ziqian's cold and beautiful jade face slightly flushed, but she was, after all, a 10,000-year demon girl, so she said with a heavy face, "You fainted and I was only worried for your safety, so I took the chance to take care of you for you. Xianxia tidied up his clothes and snorted, "I'll take care of you, but there's no need to pinch me. You squeezed mine so easily, and even pinched mine. You!" Bai Ziqian snorted, then entered the ring and stopped arguing with Xianxia. He was indeed very similar to Bai Yu. "Look, little scoundrel, she took advantage of you. I'll help you teach her a lesson, and I'll help you get her back." Su Meiyao laughed. "This isn't fair. I'm the one who should pinch," Xianxia said with jealousy. "There will be a chance another time. It's fine if you pinch me and you can kiss me. Damned seductress. It's really hard for people to concentrate." Xianxia thought about Su Meiyao's beautiful jade body, and his heart suddenly moved. He had touched her body quite a few times before and even had a shower with Su Meiyao. He suddenly felt that it had been a long time since he had had a taste of her skin. Su Meiyao and the others did not know that Xianxia had fainted because he had used the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy, and Xianxia did not tell them that he wanted to surprise them. It was normal for him to faint, so Su Meiyao was not surprised. Back then, it was the same for her as well, as Bai Yu was always by her side to take care of her at that time. Xianxia cultivated the divine way, and after he fainted, his divine soul quickly recovered, which was why he was able to wake up very quickly, and that was why Bai Ziqian had been so embarrassed just now. Now that Su Meiyao was using this matter to tease her, his jade-like hands were still carelessly stroking Bai Ziqian's body, and the conflict between the two of them had already started to slowly dissolve. "It looks like 5 stages of foreseeing alchemy is my current limit. Once I have grasped all 5 stages of foreseeing alchemy, I will proceed with 6-7 stages, Otherwise, my divine soul will be wasted. Xianxia now realized that, as a spirit cultivator, he should not only have such achievements in the field of alchemy. However, with his previous experience, he knew how to control it cleverly. It would not cause the god power to surge out endlessly. If not, he would have fainted again by then. If not for that, he might have already succeeded by now. The three main medicines of the Relivdan were not simple. It was difficult to burn them, and their self-defense was also very strong, so they would not easily open up the inner world to humans. They were also tightly guarded against it. In other words, the higher the grade of these medicinal herbs, the stronger their spirit. His face was filled with pain, and his head was in extreme pain. He never thought that the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy would be so terrifying, especially when the medicine aura was fusing with it. This time, he still had a lot of divine power left, but he was unable to deal with the sudden large amount of information, which was the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy. The Yanlong furnace exploded again. His vision became blurry and he was swaying. However, he did not faint this time. He only took a few deep breaths and his vision became much clearer. I will definitely be able to grasp the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy. Xianxia felt that he was just a bit off. But this was all because he didn't have any experience. If he had known earlier that the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy would explode with so many things at that time, he would definitely have been prepared. However, he felt that this would allow him to grasp the fifth stage of the foreseeing alchemy even faster. As long as he refined all the high-grade ground-level pills once, he would be able to break through to the heaven level. Now, he was not only learning how to refine higher-level pills, but he was also learning how to refine higher-level pills. The third time, after resting, Xianxia placed the Relivdan's medicinal ingredients into the furnace. At this time, the sky was already dark. Although he failed again, he improved a lot, but this time, because he was too persistent, his own divine soul suffered damage, and he had no choice but to use a few days' time to repair it. He also used these few days to condense his own creation divine liquid. Although her impenetrable was not as strong as Xianxia's, her ability to resist poison was still very strong. However, when she was refining the drunk god's scent, she could not help but feel weak, and whenever this happened, the bored Su Meiyao would always come in and bully her. She would only use her fingers to poke her body a few times, but she would not dare to touch this poisonous woman, unless she also had Xianxia's body, which was similar to Xianxia's. In the blink of an eye, Xianxia had stayed in this room for more than 3 months. During this time, he did not refine another Relivdan, but rather started refining the fifth stage of foreseeing alchemy. This kind of connection also helped him to a certain extent. Bai Ziqian was indeed worthy of being called the female poisonous demon of this generation. Her progress was much faster than Xianxia's. 2 months ago, she had already refined the drunk god flower into a very small, transparent powder. Previously, it was just gases, but once these powders were absorbed, they were truly huge amounts. A large amount of poison could increase the numbing power even more, and Xianxia also continuously used Creation Divine Liquid S to duplicate many Drunk God Flower S, allowing Bai Ziqian to refine a large amount of Drunk God Powder S. In this period of time, Bai Ziqian had already understood why Su Meiyao said that Xianxia was strong. That heaven-defying Creation Divine Liquid caused Bai Ziqian to be extremely envious. She also had some poisonous flowers and poisonous herbs that she needed to cultivate normally. If it wasn't for the fact that she had a lot of things to do, she would have pestered Xianxia not to leave this place and plant even more poisonous flowers and herbs. Xianxia had also given some of his poison flowers and poisonous grasses to, allowing her to struggle against him. This made Bai Ziqian owe him more, causing him to yell all day about asking her to pay with her. I must succeed this time. Xianxia felt that it was enough. When he used the foreseeing alchemy's 5 stages to refine the Relivdan, he could make 3 pellets in a single furnace. After placing the ingredients inside the furnace, Xianxia's expression was extremely calm. If it was before, he would have had a headache and his face would have turned ugly. 5 levels of foreseeing alchemy, the results of each instantaneous calculation had to be fused together, and then the result of the fusion could be used for the next instant of tempering. With 1 level of tempering, it would be 5 different types of tempering at the same time. She also secretly wished for Xianxia's success. Right now, she did not have that much of a prejudice against Xianxia, but just like Su Meiyao had said, Xianxia was a very cute little bad boy with unlimited potential. He was someone with high hopes of becoming a 10 Heavens Supreme Lord. Sister Ziqian, where do you plan to go from now on? It's very safe for you to be with us right now, and you can still be with Huan Huan. Su Meiyao said, Revenge. My enemies shouldn't be any less than you. Now that I have drunk God scent, I must let that group of people have a good look. Bai Ziqian was extremely confident. Not only did she have drunk God scent, she also had a large number of magical corruption gases, and these priceless treasures were all gifted to her by Xianxia. So she really wanted to repay Xianxia with all of his gifts, but with her personality, it was definitely not just with words alone. If you have the chance in the future, go to Dtion. Come to Dragon Subduing School. Join this kid's Dragon Subduing Legion. Maybe he'll give you an elder or something. Su Meiyao laughed. I still can't do it. I'm used to wandering alone. I'll think about it when I'm really tired in the future. Bai Ziqian was indeed like that, and she was a person that was hard to get together with because her entire body was poisonous and her surname was Gu, and her temper was strong. Xianxia had already reached the core formation stage, and from start to finish, he had been very successful. Done. Xianxia used more than 6 hours of time to carefully proceed forward, and finally succeeded. Opening the pill furnace, he saw a familiar relivdan, and it was of high quality. Although he had a few relivdan, he had never refined them himself. Bai Ziqian also came out from the Yinyao ring, looked at the 3 high-quality relivdan, and then looked at the exhausted Xianxia. Now that she had personally witnessed Xianxia's inherent skill in refining pills, she couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. She was once a weak person as well. At that time, relivdan were considered treasures to her. But Xianxia had only refined 3 of them in one furnace. Sister Ziqian, do you want to try it? Xianxia laughed. No need. I will only waste it. Bai Ziqian gave Xianxia a piece of paper and said, On it are the experiences I had in refining drunk god powder. The drunk god flour you have given me these days is more than enough for me to use for a long time. Xianxia kept the piece of paper carefully. It was true that he had produced a lot of drunk god flour, but he had given the majority of them to Bai Ziqian. Bai Ziqian was a little reluctant to part with them because they were both very happy to have Bai Ziqian with them for the duration of his stay. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were even more reluctant to part with them. It was just that Bai Ziqian had many things he needed to do. I will remember your kindness. When I finish my business, I will come back to find you. You have the Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword, Heaven-Earth Killing Method, and Dragon Veins. I believe that you will one day become a 10 Heavens Supreme Lord. At that time, I will do my best to help you. Bai Ziqian said very sincerely. Then, I will thank Sister Ziqian first. Xianxia laughed. Bai Ziqian gently caressed his face, revealing a slight smile. Don't die. Whether my sister and that little demon will recover her strength will all depend on you. After Bai Ziqian left, Xianxia tidied up his mood, took out the relivdan's medicinal ingredients and continued refining. Previously, he did not use the accelerating array inside the Yanlong furnace, so it was a little slow. Originally, he had planned to keep Bai Ziqian alive for a period of time and refine a few super relivdan for her. However, that would take a very long time, at least a year or 2. Little scoundrel, why are you still not thanking me? Bai Ziqian has already fallen for you, Su Meiyao secretly said to Xianxia. She did not know that Su Meiyao and Xianxia had plans to harm her sister. No way. I'm just thanking you. Xianxia did not believe that a female poisonous demon like Bai Ziqian would fall for a kid like him. Even though he had been together with Bai Yuyu for so long, it had only barely moved Bai Yuyu's heart. I am a woman. I know a woman better than you do. Don't look down on yourself. I've taken a fancy to you. Do you really think that this sister is playing with you? Su Meiyao scoffed. I knew it. Your sister Yu is the only one in your heart. Su Meiyao was very clear about Xianxia's desire to conquer this kind of ice beauty. Of course not. When I first saw you, I deeply imprinted you in my soul, Xianxia said. It's such a cliché, but I'm still very happy. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm still recovering from my injuries, I would definitely be your real woman. But if there's a chance, Big Sis would still be happy to bathe together with you." Xianxia secretly sighed. He decided that after returning to the evil dragon graveyard, he would thoroughly wash up with this demon. 10 days later, Xianxia had completely grasped how to refine a relive Dan. What he needed to do now was to obtain the ingredients for a high-grade ground-level pellet, and then find a way to get some of the ingredients for the heaven-level pellet from those large powers. He had ample time to complete all of these. Xianxia went to a palace in the sacred city called the Sacred Pill Palace. To take the test, he would need to register inside the Golden S, and then someone would arrange for the test, and all they needed to do was refine a batch of high-grade ground-level pills. The registration fee is already over 10,000 spiritual crystal S. Fucking expensive. When Bai Ziqian left, he gave Xianxia 20,000 spiritual crystal because he did not have much left either. She had even used up all of the poison flowers and plants that Bai Ziqian bought. "You're here just in time for the assessment in the afternoon. You can take it. When you come here in the afternoon, someone will arrange for you to take the exam." The old man handed over a proof to Xianxia. Xianxia stayed inside the palace until the afternoon. Only now did he know that when he participated in the exam, he was in the same place as a large group of people. Xianxia followed that group of people into a quiet hall, and then everyone sat down according to their respective seats. "Everyone, please wait a moment. Someone will bring the medicinal herbs and pill furnaces you requested," an old man said. When Xianxia signed up, he said that she was refining relive Dan. He did not expect the Sacred Pill Palace to provide her with medicinal ingredients, which surprised him a little. Just at this moment, an old man sent a sound transmission to him. It was the old man from the Invigilator. "Kid, place a storage bag in front of you. If it contains 100,000 spar, we will give you a good pill furnace and a good quality medicine." Xianxia was shocked. He never thought that there would be such an unwritten rule during the assessment. Arrogant pill god. Even if there were so many spiritual crystal S, Xianxia would never let them go, let alone if he didn't have any right now. Looking at this, he saw that the other participants all took out a storage bag and placed it in front of him. At this time, an old man came to collect it. As long as he confirmed that the storage bag had 100,000 spiritual crystal, the old man would take out a good quality pill furnace and 3 sets of ingredients for a high-grade ground-level pill. This was the first time Xianxia came to participate in an examination, so he did not know about these unspoken rules. Other people seemed to have long been prepared for it, but when the old man saw that he was not concerned with it, he reminded him again. It was just that he did not take out 100,000 spiritual crystal. Everyone looked at Xianxia with furrowed brows, but many of them knew that he did not know how to conduct himself, so they were not prepared. In their eyes, Xianxia would definitely fail this time round and even waste the registration fee. This caused Xianxia to feel extremely displeased. His impression of the holy city had been greatly reduced. He really wanted to know who was in charge of this sacred pill palace, to be in such darkness. If this was Tian, he would have disregarded everything and burned this place down. There were quite a few experts in the sacred city, and a few of them had strength equivalent to the Super Yuan sect leader. Thus, he decided to keep a low profile. The quality of these ingredients was not good, but they could still be used for alchemy. Even if they were abandoned, he could still refine relive Dan out of them. He had to concoct 3 batches of high-grade ground-level pills in a row, and he had to succeed 3 batches, and he couldn't even fail once, so he couldn't be careless. In the eyes of many, the quality of the ingredients and pill furnaces were related to success or failure, and although this matter was displeasing, he still had to obediently hand over 100,000 spiritual crystal. When Xianxia saw the expressions of the few older invigilators, his heart was not worried about whether he would be able to refine relive Dan, but whether the old men would stop him after he had refined them. He had told them many times about this kind of people, since 100,000 spiritual crystal was a huge sum of money for him. Unless it was a very famous alchemist, he would only take a fancy to this kind of spiritual crystal. Although the quality of the pill furnace was low, in Xianxia's opinion it was enough. The ingredients needed to refine a relive Dan were not good, and they were the kind that only those old people would use to make things difficult for others. He had brought all the supplementary medicine himself, so Xianxia's supplementary medicine was very heaven-defying. It could make up for the deficiency in the main medicine. As long as you refine 3 batches of pills within 6 hours, you will be considered as having passed the test to become a golden alchemist. You can take the pills you refined yourself, an old man said as he looked at the crowd. When he glanced at Xianxia, he purposely revealed a fierce expression. We'll start now. If we cheat, we'll throw him out. The registration fee would be 10,000 spiritual crystal S, and for the high-grade ground-level pills, he would only need to pay 600 to 700 spiritual crystal S, 3 batches at most, and 3 pellets at the very most. This St. Pill Palace was making a huge profit, not to mention the additional 100,000 spiritual crystal S that were charged according to the unspoken rules. At the same time, he also prevented ordinary people from fighting with him for benefits. To put it bluntly, he was exploiting ordinary people, and the ones who earned the most were the people at the highest level, followed by a small portion of alchemists. People were not allowed to trade elixirs in the sacred city. If discovered, it would be considered a violation of the rules and would be blacklisted. The reason was that it was to prevent people from using inferior elixirs to swindle Yun. All in all, it was quite impressive. The world is as dark as a crow. I wonder if this was the case when the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord was here. Xianxia thought. Everyone was already on fire, and all the pill furnaces were emitting a faint flame. All the alchemists who came to participate in the exam were at a decent level. This ability to control fire was hard to come by even in Detion's case. Xianxia suddenly had an idea, which was to bring back a large group of outstanding alchemists. If his dragon-subduing school wanted to become stronger, he would need a certain number of outstanding alchemists. In order to not attract too much attention, Xianxia only planned to refine a relive dan in one go. Furthermore, he had to slow down the concocting process by a lot, and if he revealed too much of his edge, it would bring about a lot of trouble. Xianxia had already mastered the first 5 stages of foreseeing alchemy, but he was only using the 4th stage now. This would make it much easier for him. To him, concocting a batch of relive dan in 4 hours was like playing around. When the elders in charge of supervising the examination saw that Xianxia had succeeded in concocting a batch of relive dan, they were all secretly unhappy in their hearts. They hoped that Xianxia would fail the next batch. This caused the other alchemists to have a whole new level of respect for Xianxia. Originally, they thought that Xianxia was a fool who did not understand the rules, and did not think that such a person could refine pills that easily, but now that Xianxia had refined 2 batches of relive dan in a row, they all admired him from the bottom of their heart. In the eyes of these alchemists, the low-quality pill furnaces and the low-quality medicinal ingredients were extremely difficult to refine into pills. For Xianxia to be able to do it, it meant that his level surpassed most of the alchemists here. Only a few had failed and most had succeeded. It had already been 5 hours, and the rest of the people had already left, because their ingredients and pill furnaces were all good. Very soon, they had completed their examination and were going to claim a gold medal. Of course, if Xianxia had not deliberately slowed down, the fastest person to complete the examination would have been him. Xianxia was deliberately delaying until it was almost over before he could open the pill furnace. Especially when he saw the impatient looks of the old men, he laughed inside. If not for Xianxia, these old men would have left 6 hours ago. But now they had to wait for Xianxia to arrive at the end, as they all had alchemists, so they could tell that Xianxia's level wasn't low. If he had good medicinal ingredients and pill furnaces, he would definitely be faster than the other alchemists. Of course, they thought that Xianxia would lose very soon. An hour before the end, Xianxia opened the lid of the pill furnace and took out a relive dan. "I'm done," Xianxia said. At this time, he saw a crafty look in the elder's eyes. "Time is up, you can come next time," an old man sneered. "Isn't there still an hour left?" Xianxia said angrily in his heart. Another old man shouted, "If I say the time is up, then it's time. Scram quickly, otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Scram. We pretended we didn't see you cheating. Don't think that we don't know that you're cheating. We are only giving you a second chance. Let you come back next time." "Next time?" Was it giving away 100,000 spiritual crystal? Xianxia laughed coldly in his heart as he clenched his fists so hard that they crackled loudly. Originally, he did not intend to cause any big ruckus, but he felt that these few old fellows in front of him were too overbearing and could not be forgiven. Arrogant pill god. You're not leaving? Fine, we will treat you as a cheat. As long as we shout, you will be thrown out. What are you looking at? Get lost. You ungrateful fellow. Seeing how Xianxia's eyes were filled with a murderous light, the few old men felt that Xianxia was in danger. Come. An old man wanted to say something, but only one word came out. The top of his throat had an extra sword, a green engraved dragon sword, which was the sword Xianxia used to transform into a green dragon demon-slain broadsword, and directly pierced through the old man's armor, and pierced through his throat. No need to shout. I'll send you on your way faster, the furious Xianxia said in a low voice as he quickly slapped the old man's abdomen with his palm. The dense innate chi that was formed from the 30 heaven pills fiercely rushed out and turned into the power of the universe. Heaven-blasting palm. Such a powerful innate chi unleashed heaven-blasting palm. Not only did it shatter the old man's body into mincemeat, it also knocked away the 3 old men who were charging towards him. These elderly men were just people who had gone through 7 tribulations and 8 tribulations. Xianxia didn't need the dragon power. He didn't need the heaven-earth killing method to kill them easily. I'll make you all act arrogantly. Xianxia unleashed the water vine, entangling the 3 elders who had opened their eyes. Then, with the speed of shrinking step, he flashed past the 3 elders in an instant and struck them 3 times with the heaven-blasting palm, killing them with a single palm. The heaven-blasting palm shook the entire sacred pill hall. Xianxia could sense that a lot of people were charging in and plucking the storage magic treasure of these elders. Then, they would activate their spatial laws and travel through space to directly leave the sacred pill hall through the walls. He had failed to take the test for the gold medal Alchemist, but Xianxia did not lose anything, and instead earned quite a bit of money. Amongst the old men's storage magic treasure, there were only a few that could be opened, with a total of more than 2 million spiritual crystal. These spiritual crystal were all collected from the unwritten rules just now. These fellows made a huge profit every time they took the examination, so it was no wonder that they would do this. Xianxia had changed his appearance, so he did not need to worry about being discovered. Originally, he had only wanted to get a gold medal alchemist in a low profile, and then sneak into a pill shop to get some high-grade medicinal ingredients for a large number of copies. It was just that during the assessment, those old geezers had gone too far and caused him to go into a rage, killing them all. This matter caused a huge stir in the Holy City, causing the upper echelons of the Holy City to be furious. The high bounty was a clue, because it had been a long time since there had been someone who dared to provoke the rules of the Holy City. In terms of refining high-grade ground-level pills, they were still pretty good. Over the years, many of the people who participated in the examination knew that these old geezers would deliberately collect some fees, and in the sacred city, they would just keep their eyes closed. Some suspected that the spiritual crystal these old geezers collected would be distributed to some of the powers in the sacred city. The sacred city was protected by many powerful forces, and now that such a thing had happened, the people were all guessing that person's identity. He was so daring to kill one of the 4 great forces. The 4 old men that Xianxia had killed were all sent here by the 4 great clans. He only found out afterwards that the strongest powers here were the 4 great clans, namely the Long, Xia, Han, and Xie clans. Little naughty dragon, I wonder what kind of relationship the Long family has with the dragon family. If we meet them, would you be able to tell that they have the bloodline of a dragon in their bodies? Xianxia asked. Of course I can feel it. Don't forget who I am. I am the reincarnation of an ancient ancestor dragon, the future heavenly dragon supreme lord. Xianxia directly ignored the bragging behind her. He wouldn't accept the alchemist's test during this period of time, because if he wanted to investigate that matter, it would take at least half a year. Let's see if we can steal it first. These 4 noble families are too powerful. They monopolize everything and won't allow anyone to buy or sell it privately. Xianxia did not have any good impressions towards the 4 great families, and during the assessment, He had already experienced the dark side of these powers, so he could only come up with this plan. Xianxia was very curious about the relationship between the Long family and the Long family here, so the first person he looked for was the Long family. In the Holy City, the Long family occupied a large area. The pill shops here were all owned by the Long family, and all sorts of shops were run by the Long family. Outsiders couldn't enter this area at all, and the things here were extremely expensive. Holy Dragon Hall. This was a restaurant. Xianxia found the name Holy Dragon funny, because he had killed a small holy dragon not long ago. Xianxia knew that this restaurant was very expensive, but he had just snatched over 2 million spiritual crystals. He looked like a young man with average looks, just that his clothes were shabby. Originally, the waiter did not want to entertain him, but seeing the brilliant spiritual crystal in his hands, he immediately welcomed him with a smile, and anxiously asked Xianxia what he wanted to eat. First, let's have a roasted crane, a pot of 1,000-year immortal wine brewed with the 100 flowers immortal dew, and then we'll add a few small dishes of the immortal beast's meat. Xianxia had eaten holy dragons before, but those were eaten from refining pills. He had never tasted the meat of holy dragons before, which made him somewhat regretful. However, Long Shui had said that although there weren't many holy dragons in Imperial Dragon Clan, there were still quite a few of them, so there was still a chance to eat grilled dragon meat in the future. The dishes that Xianxia had ordered were all very expensive. Even if it was just a few deities, he could barely afford to eat them. But now, he had ordered so many dishes by himself, he looked just like a nouveau riche. Some people secretly disdained him in their hearts, but they were still envious. After all, not everyone had so many spiritual crystal to squander. When the dishes came, Xianxia split them into two and placed the other half into the ring, allowing Long Shui, the little gluttonous dragon, to eat some meat. She ate those strange flowers and herbs as well as some pills every day, which made Xianxia sick of looking at them. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were also tasting these dishes. In the past, they had all eaten this before, but it had been a while since they had tasted this kind of food, so tasting it now would be good as well. After Xianxia finished eating his fill, he saw a big-sized man walking in. He was dressed in golden scale armor, making him look even more ferocious. In his hand was a gold piece of paper, which the shopkeeper placed on a conspicuous place. This big guy has a faint dragon aura. This Long family really does have something to do with dragons, Long Shui said. This large man was clearly a member of the Long family. Moreover, after he walked in, the people eating here all seemed very nervous. After sticking the golden paper on top, Xianxia immediately took a look at the contents on it. At first, he thought it was a bounty or something, but it was not. It was a recruitment notice. The person who had sent out this announcement was actually the precious daughter of the Long family head. Not only Xianxia, many people were attracted by the contents of the notice and were even discussing it after they finished reading it. Isn't this Long Huishan actually the daughter of the Long family's patriarch? To actually want to recruit people outside to go with her to the Dragon Cave. That's right, the Long family has so many experts. Do we need to spend so many spiritual crystals to invite outsiders? What is the purpose of this? Could it be that he had specially recruited someone to send them to their deaths? Who didn't know of the dangers of Dragon Cave? If we don't go in and out, even the most powerful immortal king wouldn't dare to go in. 500,000 spiritual crystal per month, and there were even pills to provide on the way. To many people, this was indeed an enticing task. To have strength above the Nirvana tribulation, one had to pass Long Huishan's personal test. From the discussions of the crowd, Xianxia already knew what kind of place the Dragon Cave was. It was a dangerous place where a dragon once lived, but it was very dangerous inside. A dragon. This made Xianxia think of the dragon Chaotic Mountain had spoken of. It was this dragon that took away 27 treasure chests, leaving behind only 3. He guessed that the dragon that lived in the Dragon Cave before was this darn dragon. Xianxia immediately rushed to the Long family's place that specialized in selling magic treasures. Because the assessment would take place right here, he didn't dare go to that place by himself. Long Huishan guessed that since Long Huishan was the only daughter of the Long family patriarch, she would definitely protect him well. Xianxia originally thought that he was the first person to arrive, but he didn't think that there would already be a large group of people queuing up here. Are these shameless fellows here to take a look at the Long family's eldest daughter? Aren't they afraid of being despised if they fail the examination? Xianxia really wanted to slap the thin guy in front of him flying. Suddenly, a slightly angry but pleasant voice came from inside the shop. Those who have yet to undergo the 5 nirvana tribulations are not allowed to come. If you don't listen to the warning, I will let him have a taste of the power of the 5th nirvana tribulation. While there were only 3 people in front of Xianxia, he could already see Long Huishan. Her figure was not bad, she was tall enough, with legs long enough, although her chest was not very big. But it was just nice, it was just that her face was covered by a white veil, and only her forehead, the beige willow-shaped eyebrows, and her pair of beautiful and intelligent eyes were visible. As long as you pull this sword out, even if you pass the examination, I will immediately arrange for someone to serve you. Long Huishan wore a plain white dress. She didn't seem like a big miss at all. She waved the golden sword in her hand, and the golden sheath released a faint golden light. It looked like this sword was not simple, it was actually very similar to the holy dragon sword that he had obtained. This sword was being played with by Long Shui all day, but Long Shui disliked the holy dragon sword being too weak, it could only be considered a toy. This woman has the power of an ice dragon. The people of the Long family should have the blood of an ice dragon. I actually can't remember there's a powerful ice dragon in the Imperial Dragon Clan. Long Shui said, she has the strength of an immortal. Be careful. Don't let her see anything. Xianxia looked at the person in front of him. His strength was not weak. He had endured the 8 nirvana tribulations. When he picked up the sword, his hand actually trembled a little. Xianxia could clearly see a burst of cold chi flowing out of the man's arm. This sword actually had such a terrifying icy cold power. The man hastily put down his sword, took a deep breath, shook his head, and turned away. Xianxia suspected that the dragon cave must be an ice cave. If not, this young Miss Long would not test someone's ability to resist the cold. Mr. Wang, you are also interested in Dragon Cave? Long Huishan said to the old man next to him. Mr. Wang should be famous. If not, Long Huishan would not call him that. I've been wanting to go for a while now, but I can't find a good team. The white-haired old man smiled and picked up the golden-sheathed sword on the table. This old fellow is an immortal, and it seems like he's an alchemist. Long Shui said, this sword should be an ice dragon sword without a mistake. I don't know much about ice dragons. All I know is that many years ago, the ice dragon branch and the other dragons were at odds. Long Huishan's expectations for Mr. Wang was high as expected. After the old man picked up the ice-cold sword, he did not look like the previous person, but he still took half a cup of tea to stabilize his trembling arm and dispel the cold energy in his body. He slowly pulled the sword out and only saw a cold glimmer on the sword's body. A gust of cold air immediately gushed out, causing the surroundings to be covered in frost. Xianxia was sure that the sword was a holy-level dragon artifact, like the holy dragon sword. Mr. Wang, you've passed. Please, come next. Long Huishan was very happy and said very gently, she really did not have any airs of being a young miss, which made the observing men exclaim in their hearts, because they usually only heard about the young miss of the Long family and did not show her face. There was still another person in front of Xianxia, but this one was already frozen just now. After he dispelled the cold energy from his body, he quickly left. That guy is also an immortal. Although he has just become an immortal, he is still too useless. Why did he suddenly run away like that? Long Shui snorted. Xianxia's body was also covered in frost, but there was nothing happening inside his body. When the people behind him saw the sword, they all scattered, because the sword had not even been completely unsheathed, and he had almost frozen the deity to death. As people who had experienced the Nirvana realm, how could they dare to touch it? Are you from the Nirvana tribulation? You have already seen the power of this sword, so you should have retreated in the face of danger. Long Huishan looked at Xianxia with a pair of beautiful eyes. Her gentle eyes carried goodwill. I have just passed the Nirvana tribulation, Xianxia said indifferently. I think I can unsheathe this sword. Behind Long Huishan, there were 2 sturdy golden-armored men. They were not weak either. Hearing Xianxia's words, they sneered. Even our seventh miss can't be completely pulled out, can you? Who do you think you are? The big man couldn't help but sneer. That's right, this sword is very powerful, but I am not afraid of being taken away. The person who took this sword away must have frozen to death before he could even walk out of Holy City. Long Huishan said as he nodded his head. Xianxia really wanted to pick up this sword and run away. He wanted to see if he really could not leave the sacred city, since this sword was a holy level dragon artifact. What if I can pull it out? Xianxia really wanted this sword. How about you give it to me? Everyone immediately scolded him. If you can't pull it out, then it's yours. If you can't, then leave. Do you have a white wolf in your hand? That's right. Even an immortal like Old Man Wang almost burped from the cold. Do you think you're an immortal king? Xianxia did not care about these words. He only looked at the golden-sheathed sword on the table, wanting to see through it with his divine power. Xianxia stared at the ice dragon's sword intently, causing the two men behind Long Huishan to be worried that he would suddenly take action to snatch it away, and kept their guards up. This ice dragon sword is not simple. I feel that there is a very familiar power within. There is a problem with the sword sheath. The sword sheath is different from the holy dragon sword's sword sheath. If you look carefully, the material of this sword sheath is the same as the 3 treasure chests. Long Shui anxiously said. The 3 treasure chests that he got from the chaotic mountain could not be opened. Now that he had some idea of them, how could he not be excited? It was just that this ice dragon sword belonged to someone else, and he could already feel that in this shop that sold weapons and magical equipment, there was a very powerful fellow. To be honest, the dragon cave we are going to go to is a land of frost. As long as we can pull out a little of the sword, no one would freeze to death when they go there. Furthermore, even my grandfather can only barely pull this sword out completely. Long Huishan also felt that Xianxia did not know his place. If you really can pull it out, then I don't mind giving it to you. Long Huishan's last sentence made everyone cry out, and really gave it out as a gift. It was at this time that Long Huishan spoke again. This sword was gifted to me by my grandfather, so he is also unable to use this sword. If Sir can truly pull it out, it means that you are fated with this sword. However, if you are unable to pull it out, you have to give me something as well. Long Huishan laughed mischievously, waiting for Xianxia to take out something. Although she was sure that Xianxia was unable to pull it out, she was still cautious. The sword was already hers, but if someone else took it away so easily, her heart would ache. With such a large clan like the Long family, to be able to take out something that Long Huishan had set his eyes on was definitely not easy. Do you have the confidence to pull this sword out? If we succeed in getting them, we might be able to open those 3 treasure chests. Long Shui asked. If you think it's possible, then use the jade dragon flower. This girl must have the blood of an ice dragon in her body, so she should have some understanding about the dragon race. She knows how precious the jade dragon flower is. Jade dragon flower was a holy level dragon medicine, a medicinal ingredient that could refine holy elixir, and it was also very precious in sacred Dan realm. Xianxia planned to give it a try. He had a few jade dragon flower and all of them were copied from Creation Divine Liquid. All right. Xianxia took out the jade dragon flower and placed it on the table. Seeing the jade-like flower and feeling the bizarre dragon chi, Long Huishan was stunned and stared at the jade dragon flower with her beautiful eyes. The 2 burly men behind her also recognized this item. Jade dragon flower. Long Huishan shouted in shock. That's right, but compared to your sword, it's nothing. But this is already my most precious thing. Xianxia said. If you agree, then I will begin. Long Huishan muttered to herself for a while, as though she was trying to communicate with the people in the room. She then nodded her head. You can begin. Everyone looked down at Xianxia with contempt, but when they saw him take out the jade dragon flower, they knew that he had a powerful background. At that moment, even Long Huishan was worried that he would pull out the sword, and at that time, the ice dragon sword would be given to someone else. Xianxia grabbed the sword sheath, and sure enough, he felt that the sword sheath had the same power as the other 3 treasure chests. and at the same time a wave of icy cold power attacked him, drilling into his body. He anxiously used the fire god method to refine it. The moment he held the sword hilt, Xianxia immediately felt the strong resistance of the ice dragon sword, like a dragon whose tail had been pinched by someone. He could even hear the roaring of the ice dragon sword, followed by a powerful cold energy that attacked him, freezing his entire arm and forming a thick layer of ice. Before he had even pulled out the sword, the ice dragon sword had resisted so tenaciously. This showed just how powerful the spirit of the sword was. Seeing this, Long Huishan heaved a sigh of relief. She believed that Xianxia would definitely give up, because the first time she held the sword, she held it the same way. She took a long time to hold it without being resisted. If it was touched by a stranger, it would happen. Xianxia released the holy devil-suppressing seal's power from his body and immediately suppressed the strong cold power. The ice on his arm was also blasted away. This came as a great surprise to many people. To think that he could resist the ice dragon sword's resistance to prevent himself from being frozen. Even that Mr. Wang from before could not do it. Many people could tell that Xianxia was only around the strength of nirvana tribulation from the innate chi that he had released, but they were able to resist the terrifying cold energy coming from within the sword. Long Huishan frowned slightly. If Xianxia could completely pull it out, this sword would no longer belong to her Long family. It took a lot of effort for Xianxia to suppress the sword, but he was sure that if he were to slightly pull it out, the cold energy released by the sword would be even stronger, and at that time he would not be able to suppress it. Right, philosophic stone. Xianxia suddenly thought of the mysterious philosophic stone. He could not do anything to them previously, and had to rely on them to melt the profound being. The philosophic stone had already fused into his body. He quietly let the philosophic stone pop out from his palm, touching the sword hilt. Then he focused his mind on the philosophic stone. Sure enough, the materials for this sword came from the mysterious, profound, cold, ancient realm. Xianxia did not know why, but after he took out the philosophic stone, the sword suddenly did not resist him anymore. Taking the chance, Xianxia slowly pulled the sword out. A burst of intense white light accompanied by a gulp came out. The sword body shone with a cold light. Under the light of the sun, it was extremely dazzling. What was unbelievable was that this sword no longer had the threatening ice-cold energy from before. The ice dragon sword had been completely unsheathed, but Xianxia was even more concerned with the sword sheath, because he felt that the sword sheath could possibly open the 3 treasure chests. Xianxia smiled at Long Huishan. "This is mine now." He kept the jade dragon flower and turned to leave, but Long Huishan anxiously shouted at him, "Sir, this sword is called the Ice Dragon Sword and you are actually able to pull it out so easily. That means you are destined to be there. I have already promised to give it to you, and I will never go back on my word." "Thank you." Xianxia placed the Ice Dragon Sword into the ring and let Long Shui try to open the treasure chest. He remembered that there was a hole in the 3 treasure chests that was enough to fit into the sword sheath. "You have already passed the examination. You can come with me to the Dragon Cave. Didn't you come here before because of this?" Long Huishan's beautiful eyes sparkled as if she was inviting her. Xianxia originally planned to go, but he had the Ice Dragon Sword and was waiting to open the 3 treasure chests. But now, Long Shui said, "I can't open it. It requires a lot of energy. I just tried it a little, and I nearly used up all of my energy. If you open it, the sword sheath's power will also be lost and it will take a very long time to finish condensing." "So troublesome," Xianxia cursed in his heart. "I think there must have been 30 keys then, and there's only one now, so it will be a while before we open one." Long Shui said, "If you want to promise this little girl that you will go with her to the Dragon Cave, you can just eat and drink for free with her." "Young master, can you come with me to Dragon Cave for an adventure?" Long Huishan asked again. "Of course not. I was just worried before, because I have your Long family's treasured sword." Xianxia laughed awkwardly. "I am a little scared. Don't worry. I guarantee that no one in the Long family will take back this sword. This sword was given to me by my grandfather. I can give it to whoever I want." Long Huishan smiled lightly and let a maid bring Xianxia to the store's backyard. Xianxia followed the servant through the birdsong and fragrant garden, and arrived at a small hut. At this time, he could no longer sense the expert inside. He guessed that he had already left and was returning to the Long family. The servant girl told Xianxia to stay here and not to wander around, otherwise there would be dangers and the like. Xianxia felt that this Long Huishan was not simple. There was clearly a reason to go to the dragon cave, and he definitely would not go explore it. Xianxia entered the room and casually set up a few enchantments. Then, he took out the Yanlong furnace and took out the skill that Bai Ziqian had given him, the skill used to refine drunk god powder. The refining process was very simple. It was to use the suitable flames to burn the drunk god flower to form a white powder. But the poison mist from the drunk god flower would not dissipate. Xianxia did not have many drunk god powder, only about 10 or so. But it was enough for him to refine quite a few of them. This drunk god powder was definitely easier to use than magical corruption gases. Magical corruption gas could make people get poisoned, but after being poisoned to death it was very easy to be seen by others, and when entering the body it was very easy to be detected by others. It was not safe to deal with those who are very strong. However, this drunk god powder could quietly spread out inside the human body. If it wasn't for the Immortal King or the Dragon King, it would normally be able to quietly numb the opponent's strength, and by the time the other party discovered it, their power would have already been anesthetized and killed by then. Refining drunk god powder was extremely easy. Xianxia had the basics of refining pills, and adding on Bai Ziqian's experience, he succeeded in one attempt. After that, he even continued to refine a few of them. Xianxia stayed in the small house for 3 days. On the third night, Long Huishan suddenly knocked on the door. In these past 3 days, Long Huishan would occasionally come to find him. She only told her a few things about him under an assumed name. Young Master Yun will be leaving tonight. The road might not be peaceful, so you have to be prepared, Long Huishan said in a low voice, her beautiful eyes filled with seriousness. Traveling through the night, this made Xianxia feel like he was escaping. "Amen, I understand. After this is done, you just need to fulfill your promise and pay me the spiritual crystal," Xianxia said very casually. Long Huishan did not believe that Xianxia needed spiritual crystal. With a holy level dragon medicine like Jade Dragon Flower, how could he lack spiritual crystal? If not for the fact that she hid Xianxia here, many powers might have sent people to follow him and find a way to get his Jade Dragon Flower. Long Huishan had only brought Xianxia and Mr. Wang along, which surprised Xianxia greatly. He had originally thought that Long Huishan would bring a large group of people and majestically rush towards the dragon cave. This woman is not simple. Only now did Xianxia realize that this gentle and beautiful Long Huishan actually had a belly full of schemes. This was because they didn't leave the sacred city by walking out, but through a secret transmission array. This transmission array was also in the backyard. Just as they left the sacred city, the sky above the sacred city was already lit up by the light of the fire. Xianxia estimated that the place where the fire took place would be the backyard of the shop. "Rest assured, as long as you two follow me to the dragon cave, I guarantee that you two can safely enter the depths of the dragon cave. There will be some treasures inside that you can retrieve on your own. My situation right now isn't too good, so I can't trust the people of the Long family. I have no other choice, which is why I hired people to travel with me. Since the two of you aren't lacking spiritual crystals, I believe that you can come with me to explore the dragon cave." Long Huishan hurriedly said, "Let's hurry up and go. As for the others, I hope the two of you can understand. I can't say too much." Xianxia immediately guessed that there was a change in Long Huishan's family. Otherwise, she would not so casually give the ice dragon sword to him. Xianxia and the old man Wang did not ask too much and only followed Long Huishan for a night. Along the way, they passed through the transmission arrays arranged by Long Huishan and headed north, quickly leaving the sacred city. At dawn, they came to a river and rested there. Long Huishan was by the river washing the silk. She gave the feeling of a weak, kind and delicate woman. But all the escape, along the way, Xianxia and Old Man Wang had a whole new level of respect for her. "Let's go. We should be able to reach the dragon cave in 3 days." Just as Long Huishan took a few steps, The old man Wang suddenly pounced towards Xianxia. His withered palm released a burst of extremely terrifying power, heavily smashing onto Xianxia's chest and causing Xianxia to fly backwards, his entire body slicing into the stone mountain. Mr. Wang Yu. Although Long Huishan was surprised, he reacted quickly and immediately dodged to the side to avoid the attack from the old man Wang. I'm sorry, Miss Long, old man Wang sneered. He, who looked kind and amiable, now had a face full of viciousness. I didn't expect you to be Uncle's man. It turns out that you and Uncle were pretending to have a falling out. Long Huishan was slightly angered and continued to dodge. This old man Wang was originally a teacher in the Long family, but he had a falling out with the elder brother of the Long family and left the Long family. Your father is dead, and the current patriarch is your uncle's. Even if you manage to obtain the inheritance of the ancestor in the Dragon Cave, it would be useless. If he manages the Long family, he can definitely make the Long family even more glorious. As old man Wang spoke, he continued to attack Long Huishan, every move extremely vicious. Xianxiang crawled out from within the stone mountain, looked at Elder Wang, and scolded. This old bastard actually plotted against me. Just you wait,